Alright, imagine this for a second. You're asleep in your bed, everything is quiet, and suddenly your body is still lying there. But you're not inside it anymore. You're drifting somewhere else, somewhere dark, somewhere filled with things that are very aware that you don't belong there. That terrifying place is the Further, the haunting spirit realm from the Insidious universe. And now, the franchise is opening that door again, because the brand new trailer for Insidious, Out of the Further, just dropped. And honestly, it looks like the series is about to take its scariest step yet. This time, we're not just revisiting old ghosts. The trailer hints that something much bigger is happening, something that could completely change what the Further actually is and how it connects to our world. So today we're breaking down everything hidden in the trailer, the new characters, the terrifying new lore, and why this might be the most dangerous story in the entire Insidious universe. And trust me, some of the details in this trailer are seriously disturbing. Why the Insidious universe feels different. Before we dive deeper into the trailer, it's worth talking about why this franchise became such a huge deal in the first place. Back in 2010, horror was mostly dominated by found footage movies and simple haunted house stories. Then James Wan and Leigh Whannell came along and introduced something that felt completely new. The original Insidious didn't just show ghosts haunting a house. Instead, it introduced the terrifying idea of astral projection horror, where certain people can literally leave their bodies and travel into a spirit dimension known as the Further. Think of it like a dark mirror of reality, a place where time doesn't really exist, where lost souls wander endlessly, and where something far worse might be watching from the shadows. And the creepiest part, when someone travels into the Further, their body stays behind, completely vulnerable, which means something else could take their place. That idea completely redefined supernatural horror, because instead of ghosts invading our world, humans were the ones stepping into theirs. The trailer opens with silence. The trailer for Insidious, Out of the Further, begins in a really unsettling way. There's no loud music, no sudden scare, just silence. And that's actually a very intentional choice, because in horror filmmaking, silence can be far more powerful than a jump scare. It forces the audience to anticipate fear instead of reacting to it. We see a dim hallway, lights flickering softly, shadows stretching across the walls, and then a child whispering something we can't quite understand. Immediately, the trailer tells us something important. The Further doesn't feel like just a location anymore. It almost feels alive, like something inside it is aware, watching, waiting. The return of the red door. Then we see something every Insidious fan instantly recognizes, the red door. If you've seen the earlier films, you know this door is one of the most important symbols in the entire franchise. It represents the boundary between the living world and the Further. But in this trailer, the door looks different, damaged, cracked, almost decaying, like it's been rotting for years. Symbolically, the red door has always represented three major things in the Insidious universe: the threshold between life and death, psychological repression, and unresolved trauma. So seeing the door breaking apart could hint at something terrifying. The barrier between worlds might be weakening, and that raises a huge question for the story. What if the Further isn't just being visited anymore? What if it's starting to leak into reality? Meet Gemma, the new protagonist. The story of the film centers around a new character named Gemma, a young mother raising her daughter in the house she grew up in. And as you can probably guess, in an Insidious movie, that house is hiding something. Gemma soon discovers something shocking about herself. She has the ability to travel into the Further. Now, that alone isn't completely new in the series. Characters like Elise Rainier have used astral projection before, but Gemma's ability comes with a terrifying twist. She doesn't just enter the Further. She can bring things back with her, and once the entities living there realize that, everything changes, because suddenly, the spirits trapped in that world have a way into ours. Elise Rainier returns. Another huge moment in the trailer is the return of the iconic paranormal investigator Elise Rainier, played once again by Lin Shaye for longtime fans. Elise has always been the emotional core of the franchise, the one person who truly understands the Further, its dangers, its rules, and the terrifying things hiding inside it. But her return in this story might mean something very different, because Elise herself has already crossed into the spirit world before, which means she might now be one of the only people capable of understanding what's happening if the barrier between worlds starts collapsing. And if Elise is worried about what's coming, that's a very bad sign. The new entities look smarter. One of the creepiest parts of the trailer is the glimpse of completely new shadow entities. The Insidious franchise has always featured disturbing spirits, from the terrifying lipstick-faced demon to other twisted figures wandering through the Further. But the entities shown here feel different. They don't just wander aimlessly like trapped ghosts, they seem aware, almost intelligent. Some even appear to stare directly toward the camera. That detail might hint at a huge expansion of the lore, suggesting that the Further might actually have some kind of hierarchy. Not just random spirits, but entities with power, influence, and possibly control over different parts of that realm. If that's true, then we may finally be seeing the deeper structure of the Insidious spirit world. The sound design is seriously disturbing. Another detail that makes the trailer so unsettling is its sound design, something many viewers don't consciously notice, but definitely feel. Throughout the trailer, we hear strange audio techniques layered beneath the visuals, reverse whispers echoing in different directions, deep, low-frequency drone sounds designed to trigger anxiety, sudden moments where all sound disappears, followed by disturbing distortions. There's even a childlike humming sound that slowly becomes warped and unnatural. These techniques are actually used in horror to create psychological discomfort. Your brain recognizes something is wrong, even if you can't explain why, which makes the experience far more disturbing than a typical jump scare, because the trailer isn't just showing horror, it's making the audience feel it. Trauma is still at the heart of the story. Despite all the supernatural horror, the Insidious series has always focused on something very human: family trauma. Parents trying to protect their children, families dealing with grief, memories that refuse to stay buried. And the trailer for Insidious Out of the Further continues that tradition. We see scenes of a mother desperately searching for her child, a father experimenting with strange devices that appear connected to astral projection, and moments of emotional tension where the family struggles to understand what is really happening. That emotional grounding is what makes the Insidious films so effective, because beneath the ghosts and demons, the real story is about how unresolved pain can open doors that should never exist. A new direction for the franchise. This installment is directed by Jacob Chase, known for the horror film Come Play, while the story is connected to writer David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, who has worked within the Conjuring universe. Meanwhile, franchise creators James Wan and Lee Wannell remain involved as producers, ensuring the film still carries the DNA of the original Insidious movies. Visually, the trailer already hints at a darker cinematic style, deeper shadows, slower camera movements, and a version of the Further that looks more distorted than ever before, almost like reality itself is glitching and collapsing. The Further might be invading reality. But here's the detail that really changes everything. In previous Insidious films, characters could travel into the Further, but it was always incredibly dangerous, because they had to return to their bodies before something else claimed them. Now, Gemma's power changes the rules entirely, because she can bring entities from the Further into the real world, and if spirits trapped in that dimension suddenly gain access to reality, then the Further is no longer just a distant nightmare. It becomes a doorway that something might be trying to push through. Release date and final thoughts. So when will audiences finally experience this new chapter of the Insidious universe? Insidious Out of the Further is set to arrive in theaters on August 21st, released through Sony Pictures, Blumhouse Productions, and Atomic Monster, a combination responsible for some of the most memorable horror films of the last decade. And based on the trailer alone, this movie isn't just continuing the Insidious story. It looks like it's expanding the mythology in a huge way, introducing new entities, new rules for the Further, and a terrifying possibility that the barrier between worlds is finally breaking. And if the red door is truly collapsing, then whatever has been waiting on the other side might finally step into our world. So the real question now is, are we ready to see what's been hiding in the Further all along?
Those are not dreams, Gemma.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.